Welcome back.
Welcome.
So, day 2 of, we're not even going to call it a series because we're just talking and it may roll into tomorrow. But yesterday we talked about epigenetics and we identified the first 7 factors that they discovered. It was environment, drugs, diet, age, nutritional deficiency, stress, and exercise. But now for one of the really cool parts.
So epigenetics, just real brief. Can you briefly tell us? Well, you tell us about.
Epi is Greek for above, beyond, and over, I think it was. So epigenetics is those things that we can modify, change, or even just recognize, like age. You can't do anything about age, but it does have an effect on your genetic coding.
Okay.
Right. The best example I know to give is think of identical twins that grow into different lives. They share the same genetic coding.
Why does one get sick, one does not?
Right.
Why does one gain weight, one does not?
Right.
Okay, great.
So
the most powerful one.
Now, see, you're jumping ahead.
Okay.
No, so they did a study on 3,500 people, and to your point, they identified an 8th epigenetic factor, and they did agree that they believe it may be stronger than any of the others. Right. And it's literally thoughts.
Right.
So you go, okay, thoughts, what does that mean? And it's how do we perceive ourselves? Is it positive thinking? Is it negative thinking? The power of the mind to
change outcomes.
Change is that the right word? Physiological outcomes?
Yeah, and there was 25,000 genes in the human body with 30,000 plus different outcomes of those genes.
Each gene has
gene
30,000.
So do that math. So while DNA says program, right, the expression of that gene has up to 30,000 different possible outcomes. Dude,
that's a bigger number than the feds print every year.
I don't know about that.
Well, true.
But so one is your road map of where you've been, right? The gene, and the expression is where you're going. I guess maybe that's a bad analogy, but it's the one I got.
It was heavy. I think it's above my pay grade.
So in essence, if you look at, all right, mom had cancer, sister had cancer, I'm probably going to have cancer. Wrong.
Right.
You can change the outcome according to this information.
So I think what we're doing here is we're trying to have a conversation without diving into what we've both been reading and giving examples from that reading.
Yes. And if you want to blow your mind, this is the book probably that does it.
So tell the viewer.
Lisa Rankin, spelled with 2 S's.
Lisa.
From Mind Over Medicine. And not getting too deep on it, it talks about literally how the power of what's in your brain and what you're thinking affects different outcomes.
Right. So I think you're a little further into the book than I am. So chapter 1 is about the placebo effect.
Right.
Chapter 2 is about the nocebo effect, which I find much more fascinating.
Yeah, the placebo effect to me is quite fascinating. I know you find the other one more fascinating.
Well, they both are.
They both are. But literally that they give that you can, by believing in an outcome, believing that something is going to work, can have a dramatic effect on. I mean, so when someone gets a sugar pill versus a control group, or people that get the actual.
All right, if I may, I want to circle back to you use the cancer mother, the cancer someone else, and so tell us about the study of the Chinese people they did.
Yeah, so they did a study of Chinese individuals in the United States, and they found that the Chinese individuals lived about 5 years less than the American counterparts. And The reason that they thought that was because of the Chinese zodiac, if you can believe that. They believed that the stars cursed them, and as such, they lived 5 years less than the average American.
So they believed in this astrology. It like truly believed in their heart. And those that were born, on the wrong day of the wrong month of the wrong year,
that
whatever,
were, quote unquote, cursed.
They were, and they believed it, and it had a physiological impact. I mean, physiological death. That's
right.
But it did. It literally affected their life, and
that's just one of thousands and thousands of stories.
I don't want to speak against astrology. I'm not a believer, but the idea that it was in their head.
Right, and there's tons, and once you get into this book, there's tons of different cancer studies. There's tons of different incidences of people that have had cancer where they got a drug. They believed in the power of the drug. It changed their life. It changed their outcome, only to find out that the drug for everybody else was absolutely worthless.
Right.
And then they are no longer in remission. The cancers come back. The tumors come back, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to ruin the book. You really should listen to the book or read it, however you do.
Yeah, maybe we can link to it somewhere.
Yeah. So the other
do we have an affiliate code for Lisa Rankin?
Right. She's about to be blown up with all of our 4 readers. So the other one was the Nocebo. So that's the placebo effect, the power of what you believe, that you believe that this treatment is going to change your cancer lifestyle, versus the Nocebo effect.
Well, so placebo, right? If I can summarize, I totally get the power of the mind into being able to improve an outcome, right? Mm-hmm. But the power of the mind to be able to cause its own body damage is what, like, in my head, I was like, whoa. And some of the scenarios that Lisa covers in the book, they did, I think it was, they told this group of patients that they were going to run an electrical current through their brain to run some test. And they said the most common side effect was a headache. And they put this device on, or whatever it was, but they used no current at all. Literally, they did nothing to these people. And like 80% reported a headache afterwards.
My head just hurts thinking about that.
Right. Well, she goes into multiple other examples. I'm only about, I would guess, less than halfway into that chapter. Mm-hmm. In the examples she's giving over and over and over. These are like peer-reviewed, journal-written papers. They're not like hocus-pocus type things, where people literally, they got a shot of saline water and were told that they were going to be nauseous, and they all start vomiting later in the day.
That's crazy.
And it's, again, the nocebo effect of driving a negative outcome for literally no reason.
So you can go back. I know we're in Mental Health Awareness Month, but you can go back and you can start to stitch this together about people that have had, haven't had the comfortingness of parents, or, hey, you can do this, or, you're worthless, and you could see these paths that are starting to fork. That when you have a nurturing environment, support, power of positive thinking, all of these different things, how success comes to you.
And I think what the book's going to do is get into how to do that. Maybe you didn't have nurturing. Maybe you're in a bad marriage. Maybe I think where the book is going is how to control that, and insert your dominance over the things that you can dominate. So we'll see.
Yep.
We're both going to plug away at the book.
Yep. We'll get more at tomorrow.
Yeah, and we'll keep chatting about it. So we thank you for tuning in. Snackcast@yes.fit with any of your ideas, compliments, concerns, or for Jerry's phone number.
Jerry or Juan.
Jerry or Juan, it's,
taking people to the beaches.
So thank you for tuning in.
Stay moving.
See ya.